Let's get right into it. Number 10. The poisonous potato. You probably think of potatoes as the ultimate comfort food. They're mashed, they're fried, they're baked. They're basically the foundation of a happy meal. But your average potato is secretly hiding a dark secret, a family secret, even. Potatoes are part of the nightshade family, the same plant group that gives us tobacco, deadly nightshade, yep, it's in the name, and belladonna. This whole family of plants produces something called glycoalkaloids, which are basically natural pesticides designed to keep bugs from eating them. These compounds are a bit like the plant's own poison defense system. The thing is, when a potato gets exposed to sunlight, it starts producing more of this stuff to protect itself. This is why you should avoid green potatoes. The green color isn't the poison itself, it's just the chlorophyll showing up. But it's a visual warning sign that the potato has been getting too much sun and is probably loaded with these toxic chemicals. Eating a tiny bit of a green potato won't kill you, but eating a whole lot can lead to some seriously unpleasant symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea, headaches, and even hallucinations. In extreme cases, it can be fatal. So basically, your seemingly harmless potato is just a few bad decisions away from being a dangerous drug. Number 9. The deadly apple seed. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. But what about the seeds? You've probably heard somewhere that apple seeds are poisonous, and it's not a myth. The seeds, along with the pits of peaches, cherries, and apricots, contain a compound called amygdalin. When your body's digestive enzymes break down amygdalin, it releases hydrogen cyanide. Yes, the same cyanide you hear about in old spy movies and murder mysteries. Your stomach acid turns a harmless-looking seed into a tiny time bomb. Now, before you start panicking about that one time you accidentally swallowed an apple seed whole, you'd need to consume a whole lot of them for it to be lethal. We're talking about crushing and eating around 200 apple seeds, or about 1 full cup of them, to reach a fatal dose. Your average apple only has about 5 to 8 seeds, and you'd have to chew them up completely to get the toxins out. Swallowing them whole is fine because they'll pass right through you. So while the myth is technically true, the danger is about as real as a cartoon anvil falling on your head. Number 8. Rhubarb's toxic leaves. We all love a good rhubarb pie or crumble in the spring, but have you ever noticed that you only ever eat the stalks? There's a good reason for that. Rhubarb leaves are packed with a chemical called oxalic acid. This stuff isn't just a mild irritant, it's a seriously nasty poison. In small doses, it can cause a burning sensation in your mouth and throat, and in larger doses, it can lead to kidney failure and even death. Oxalic acid binds with calcium in your body, forming sharp microscopic crystals that basically shred your internal organs. It's like eating tiny, razor-sharp rocks. During World War I, when food was scarce, people were told to eat the leaves as a last resort, and many ended up getting very sick or dying. So while the stalks of the plant are perfectly safe and delicious, the leaves are basically a natural booby trap. It's a good reminder that not every part of a plant is meant for your dinner plate, no matter how much you want to eat something green. Number 7. The Nutmeg Hallucination. You might think of nutmeg as that warm, comforting spice you sprinkle on eggnog during the holidays, but in large quantities, this innocent-looking spice becomes a powerful hallucinogen. We're talking about a drug that can make you trip out for days, not in a fun way, but in a totally terrifying, sick-to-your-stomach kind of way. Nutmeg contains a compound called myristicin. When you ingest a large amount, say 2 to 3 tablespoons, your liver processes this chemical and turns it into something that messes with your brain's neurotransmitters. This can cause a whole host of horrible side effects: heart palpitations, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and a feeling of impending doom. The hallucinations aren't the fun, psychedelic kind either. They're often described as disorienting and disturbing. You might feel disconnected from your body, or like you're trapped in a dream. And the worst part? The symptoms can last for a day or two, and the feeling of a nutmeg high is often so miserable that nobody who tries it ever wants to do it again. Basically, trying to get high on nutmeg is the culinary equivalent of playing Russian roulette with your sanity. Number 6. The bitter almond. Almonds are a healthy, popular snack, but what you're eating are actually sweet almonds. There's another kind, the bitter almond, and it's a completely different beast. Bitter almonds contain a massive amount of that same amygdalin we talked about with apple seeds. The concentration is so high that just a handful of these almonds can be a fatal dose for an adult. In fact, bitter almonds are so toxic that it's illegal to sell them raw in the United States. They're a natural source of cyanide, and their taste is a massive warning sign. The bitter flavor is your body's way of saying, "Danger, do not eat this." This is why sweet almonds have been cultivated for centuries. We basically bred the poison out of them. So while a handful of almonds is a great snack, a handful of bitter almonds is a one-way ticket to the emergency room. Number 5. The Cashew Deception. Ever wonder why you never see cashews sold in their shells in the supermarket? It's because the raw cashew nut, in its natural state, is surrounded by a double shell that contains a substance called urushiol. If that name sounds familiar, it's because it's the exact same irritating compound found in poison ivy. Urushiol is a potent toxin that can cause severe skin rashes and blisters. The smoke from burning cashew shells can even be toxic, causing respiratory issues. That's why every cashew you've ever bought has been roasted or steamed to remove the dangerous oils. The cashews you buy are not truly raw in the way you think. They've been processed to make them safe for human consumption. So the next time you're munching on some cashews, remember that if the factory workers didn't do their job right, you'd be left with a mouthful of skin-blistering poison ivy. Number 4. The fiery kidney bean. Kidney beans are a staple in chilies and a great source of protein, but if you don't cook them correctly, they are surprisingly toxic. Raw kidney beans contain a lectin called phytohemagglutinin, which is a powerful little protein that basically acts like a toxin in your gut. It causes red blood cells to clump together and can seriously mess with your digestive system, leading to symptoms like extreme nausea, severe vomiting, and painful diarrhea. The amount of this lectin is so high in raw kidney beans that just a few undercooked beans can be enough to make you incredibly sick. The poison is so potent that some people have gotten sick just from eating a slow cooker dish where the beans didn't get hot enough. To make them safe, you have to boil them for at least 10 minutes. Soaking them overnight isn't enough, and slow cooking won't cut it either. You have to bring them to a rolling other, full-on boil. It's a reminder that some foods aren't just food. They're a chemistry experiment you have to get right, or your stomach will stage a rebellion. Number 3. The humble tomato leaf tomatoes are a fruit that we treat like a vegetable, and a food that's become a cornerstone of global cuisine. But the plant itself is another member of the nightshade family, just like the potato. The leaves and stems of the tomato plant contain a chemical called tomatine, which is a mild toxin. In small amounts, it's not really a big deal. You'd have to eat a large quantity of tomato leaves to get sick. But ingesting enough can lead to an upset stomach, cramping, and even vomiting. This is why you should never try to use the leaves as a fancy herb or garnish. They're not like basil or parsley. They're a protective poison for the plant, designed to keep away pests. So while you're enjoying your pasta with a rich tomato sauce, remember that the leafy parts of the plant are quietly defending themselves from the world, and you should probably just leave them alone. Number 2. The poisonous pufferfish. This one is less secretly toxic and more famously toxic, but it's still a food that people willingly eat. The pufferfish, or fugu, is a Japanese delicacy. It's also one of the most poisonous vertebrates in the world. Its liver, ovaries, and skin contain a potent neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin, which is over 1,000 times more deadly than cyanide. There is no known antidote. The toxin paralyzes the muscles, and death occurs from asphyxiation as the victim can't breathe. The strange thing is, the person is often fully conscious and aware of what is happening to them as their body shuts down. Fugu chefs have to undergo a rigorous, multi-year training and certification process to learn how to prepare the fish so that a tiny, non-lethal amount of the toxin remains. This is supposed to cause a tingling sensation on the lips, which is part of the experience. It's the ultimate game of high-stakes culinary roulette, where the thrill comes from knowing that your meal is perfectly capable of killing you in the most horrifying way possible. Number 1. The cherry pit. We've mentioned apple seeds. But cherry pits take the cake. It's an innocent mistake we've all made, accidentally biting down on a cherry pit. These little guys are basically a ticking time bomb of cyanide. Like the other stone fruits, they contain a compound called amygdalin, which turns into cyanide in your stomach. While a single accidentally swallowed cherry pit won't do any harm because it will pass through your system whole, if you were to chew it up or crush it, you'd be releasing that poison. It's a bit like a tiny bomb with a hard shell. You have to actively break the shell to activate the danger. Chewing a few pits won't be enough to kill an adult, but a small child is much more vulnerable. The pits of apricots and peaches are in the same category. This is why you should never try to make a smoothie out of the entire fruit with the pits still in it. It's a quick way to turn a healthy drink into a deadly cocktail. So next time you're enjoying a bowl of cherries, take a moment to appreciate that you're eating a delicious fruit that's been clever enough to hide its own toxic weapon inside a hard, unassuming shell. It's a perfect example of how a plant's defense mechanism can be both fascinating and dangerous. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.